For more on the unfolding situation, I'm now joined by Alex Shephard, reporter with The New Republic. Alex, thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
We'll start with what's the general vibe over there in the United States at the moment? Is everyone kind of building anticipation ahead of the inauguration?
I think that there's a mix of emotions. I think people have been waiting, many people have been waiting for the Biden inauguration for some time, in part just because there's a deep sense of exhaustion with the Trump presidency. At the same time, this is a phenomenally tense period, I think, especially after what happened last Wednesday. This is something that many people did not expect to ever see in their lifetime. These are scenes that haven't been seen since the 1860s with American troops bivouacking in the United States Capitol. So people are looking forward to the inauguration, but at the same time, there's a lot of concern about what's going to happen over the next few days, and I think the next few months as well.
Where are we at in the impeachment process?
So the House has impeached the president. The Senate now will try the president on these charges. The House has yet to send the articles of impeachment, so this trial can't start until that happens. And there are some questions about when it could happen. Mitch McConnell, the current majority leader of the Senate, has said that he won't start any trial before the 19th of January. That's one day before Joe Biden's inauguration. If he had the votes to remove the president, I think we would have seen this trial go forward already. So this is going to drag into the first weeks of Biden's term. It's going to certainly complicate his efforts to pass COVID relief as well.
So is that what it is? Why is the timing of when those papers are handed over so important?
Well, it will dictate when the impeachment trial itself starts and what that trial looks like. We've never had an impeachment trial of an ex-president before. So if this drags past January 20th, which it's almost certain to do, the shortest impeachment trial we've had is 21 days, then there will be serious constitutional questions about if they can even impeach a president or an ex-president. We don't know the answer to that, but it is going to interfere with Biden's ability to, one, pass this $1.9 trillion COVID bill, and also get his cabinet in order. Now, certainly the Democrats are projecting a lot of confidence here, but Mitch McConnell and Republicans, I think, are eager to say, look, the Democrats have talked a good game about wanting to move the country forward. They want to pass these economic bills to fight COVID, but they're still fixating on now ex-President Trump.
Well, that was one of my other questions for you. Biden's first 100 days in power, that almost certainly is going to be overshadowed by the impeachment now, no matter how good a job he does.
Yeah, I mean, I think the idea that we would suddenly move on from the Trump era, which was a central part of the Biden campaign, is always a fantasy. It was always going to require certain reckoning, serious questions about oversight. But now I think it's very literal. And this will be a split screen 100 days. On the one hand, you'll have the Senate trying a former president. And on the other, you'll have Biden trying to move the country forward, trying to push this $1.9 trillion COVID relief bill and also get his cabinet in place.
Alex, aside from the impeachment, when that does eventually end, what do you think is going to happen next for Donald Trump after presidency? What does his life look like? Is he going to remain in the public arena?
I think he may, frankly, have no other choice. The situation that he's heading into from a legal and financial perspective is dire. His $300 million that we know of that's coming due very shortly. There are a number of companies that I think were probably eyeing him with some degree of skepticism before what happened on the 6th, but they're not going to be doing business with him. His properties, I think, are going to suffer not just from the general COVID crunch, but also because people, frankly, just don't want to do business with him after the 6th. He's talking now about raising $2 billion to start a presidential library. This could be his version of a third act, but the way that this is looking, he's going to have to fight back, presumably several criminal charges, at least in New York State. There are going to be questions about federal charges based on, again, what happened on January 6th.
Alex, we've seen Republicans in the past week turning on Donald Trump. What does this mean for the future of the party?
This is, I think, one of the biggest, if not the biggest question going forward. there's a huge division in the party right now, particularly the kind of traditional Republican power base. I think wants Donald Trump out. They have seen what he's done to the party. He's split the party. He's made it toxic in a lot of corners. And I think most importantly, the donor base that these Republicans rely on is just dried up at the moment. People are not donating to Republicans who participated in any way in this attempt to overturn the election. Trump, though, I think wants to hold on to his power. He has installed a number of loyalists at the RNC and in other important party positions. His sons and his daughter Ivanka will certainly be angling for leadership in a number of ways. And the polling right now suggests that most Republicans still approve of this president. They think he did nothing wrong, even as he attempted to use extra legal means to overturn the election.
If a slightly more convoluted question, it's hypothetical, but if we hadn't had COVID, do you think that Donald Trump's legacy would have been a lot better than what it's turned into?
It's a difficult question to unravel because I think the $1,200 direct payments were such a huge part of boosting him before the election. But it's an interesting question. I think the idea of his legacy was based in large part on this nativist anti-immigration push and legitimizing that within the Republican Party, or pushing it more to the mainstream than it had been in quite a long time. But I think now that what we've seen is just that the state has failed to function in pushing back against COVID, and that has just swallowed up everything else.
Alex, thanks so much for chatting with us today. It's going to be a very interesting few days ahead in the United States, so thanks for your insight.
Thank you.